Yesterday we talked about melatonin and why it might be a logical add to your counter-corona crew. We talked about how melatonin specifically has been one of the most potent ways shown to inhibit that inflammasome called NLPR3, which leads to that inflammatory or cytokine storm, which leads to the acute respiratory distress syndrome. You see, we're connecting the pathophysiological dots in order to justify why perhaps some of these strategies make sense. If you can inhibit that whole pathway that gets to the acute respiratory distress syndrome, we're automatically protecting or combating one of the mechanisms that is responsible for the worst outcomes in response to COVID-19. Now, melatonin, another thing interesting with melatonin is that by looking at this, we see perhaps another reason for what we're seeing in the disparity amongst age as far as the severity of the infection and manifestation of it in patients. Melatonin decreases with age. It can be up to 10 times higher in the lower age brackets. Now, this could be for a variety of reasons. A lot of our hormones get suppressed with age, but also due to lifestyle choices, and just as we start to encounter more and more things as adults. Cortisol, if you're stressed out, your cortisol is up. Cortisol and melatonin have an inverse relationship. Thankfully, I live with these kids. Other than temporary bouts of stress, hormetic stresses, if you will, here and there, they're happily oblivious to everything that's going on. They don't stress what's going on as they shouldn't. They don't stress any of the bills or anything like that. They're just in the moment and loving it. A very enviable trait. That can lead to lower cortisol levels. On the flip side, me, you, adults functioning, another reason why mindfulness is so important, if that cortisol is chronically elevated, now we're looking at suppressed melatonin levels. We're suppressing our own production of a hormone potentially responsible for protecting us against some of the harmful mechanisms of SARS-CoV-2. Another reason, how about a lifetime exposure to fluoridated water and drinking fluoridated water? This has been shown to calcify the pineal gland. The pineal gland is where melatonin is produced. So that's just another example of exposures throughout time that someone in their youth has not had the days to accumulate some of the damage that we as adults navigating this world have. So again, another mechanism that shows why there's such a disparity in the age. Now, there's a little bit of controversy when it comes to melatonin, and some people are hesitant to supplement with it due to the fact that there's conflicting studies, there's conflicting theories on if I take this melatonin supplement, will it inhibit or block my ability to produce it on my own endogenous production. Endogenous meaning produced in the body rather than exogenous, obtained from an exogenous source like a supplement. The studies are conflicting and they're kind of back and forth. I've been hesitant on it. Obviously, we want our bodies to be able to produce everything in an ideal world on their own, but you know what? Sometimes that's not the case. And sometimes some support can be a good thing. If we look at the big picture and we look at it as potentially a temporarily implemented strategy based on the priority of the day. You have to look at it almost as a risk-reward, a cost-benefit. We look at melatonin, and due to the prioritization right now of staying healthy, the prioritization, the emphasis on being as strong and resilient as possible for that perhaps inevitable encounter with SARS-CoV-2. Melatonin, which is going to help us sleep better, heal, recover, rest, stay more grounded up top to begin with, and as an added bonus, potentially block that inflammatory storm, perhaps using it on a temporary level could prove advantageous and a strong member of your countering corona team. So melatonin, along with vitamin C, they're sitting on our bench right now. There are reserves, what we're going to use going forward as we get back out in the world and potentially for the next couple months. We've seen melatonin used in some sleep supplements we've used before, both personally and clinically, at the 0.5 to 1 milligram level. And for this, as a standalone, I've started to personally implement it here and there on certain nights at a 3 to 6 milligram level. Again, help get to sleep, but also to help block against any type of that inflammatory storm that might kick up due to that interaction with that SARS-CoV-2. So melatonin, think about it. Could be part of your corona crew.